And let's get into buy lows and sell highs. And Dave, you've got 4. I think you each gave about 4 names. So we'll go through them and tell me how you're feeling about them, what you might, I don't know. It's tough to come up with trades off the top of your head, but go ahead.
That's what the trade chart is for.
That is.
And so I can give you examples off of the trade chart, and then you can either say, oh yeah, that sounds about right, or oh gosh, that doesn't sound close at all. And that's beauty is in the eye of the beholder type of thing. Okay, so guys to trade for, Adam. AJ Brown tops the list for me. I know he didn't look great in week 1. Obviously, the targets stunk in week 1. I think he'll get right, and I think the Eagles' passing game will eventually come through. We know what he's capable of. And so if anybody is sour on him after one game and they're impatient, this is the time of year where the impatient fantasy managers are going to lose big time. Because I talked with a buddy before the show. Someone in his league dropped Terry McLaurin after week 1. He didn't even try and think about trading him or benching him. Straight up cut Terry McLaurin. It's ridiculous.
I love those 14 leagues.
It's not. It's a competitive 12-team league that he's in. Somebody dropped Terry McLaurin. It never happens in our league. That doesn't happen in our league. But if you can go and get A.J. Brown at a discount of where he was drafted, his ADP was in the 20s, I say you go ahead and do that. There were 2 trades that I saw that involved A.J. Brown. You guys react to these trades. This is not trade chart. This is just trades that actually happened in real-life fantasy leagues. Somebody gave up Devontae Adams and Matthew Golden for A.J. Brown.
Oh, I think that's fine. What do you think?
I felt like it was a little too much to give for A.J. Brown, but I'm a Golden fan. How about this one? Jalen Waddle and Rashid Shaheed for A.J. Brown.
Oh, yeah. Win. Love it.
All right, so now rank these guys rest of season. A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Cortland Sutton, Tyreek Hill.
Brown, Sutton.
And then you pause. And I'm with you. I'm with you on that all the way. Yeah, you mentioned Sutton for Tyreek Hill, Adam. I would take Sutton over Tyreek Hill right now. Yeah. Closer in non-PPR. But in full PPR, I think Sutton is the safer bet.
Can I just say something about Devontae Adams since he was part of that trade?
Please.
I tried to find who was shadowed by good cornerbacks this week, and he was shadowed by Derek Stingley. And he actually had some success. He beat him. He didn't have a great game, obviously, Devontae Adams, but he had a 25% target per route run rate even when Puka Nacua was on the field, and he did get shadowed by Derek Stingley. So I thought that was, encouraging that he still got 8 targets, 4 catches for 51 yards, and I don't know, mostly like Devontae Adams, not super explosive, but could get open. All right, go ahead. Who's next on your list?
Travion Henderson is next on the list, and this is especially for people who see Henderson rostered by a manager who's impatient. 1 week does not make a season, and Henderson was clearly the better runner on film compared to Ramondre Stevenson, but neither of them could really get going in the Patriots offense. What's the first thing Mike Vrabel said after the game? We need to get the running game going. Who are they playing in week number 2? The Miami Dolphins. And as long as the offensive line doesn't manage to get worse, they can play at the same level they did last week. I think that they can find space for Travion Henderson. Now is the time. We had one win. Maybe it's the time for all the rookies that underwhelmed in week 1, because we definitely had high expectations for them. And there are glimpses of a lot of the rookies doing things that we expected. And I think Travion Henderson is still on a trajectory to get more work and to be the best running back in New England. And there's an opportunity to get him at a little bit of a discount.
Jameson Williams is next for you. He had 5 targets out of 39 pass attempts at the Bears.
The thing that worried me the most about the Lions was the play designs, because they were running a lot of vertical routes right into the teeth of the zone coverage that the Packers were playing. Packers played a lot of 2-high shell. They did not blitz very much. They don't have to blitz very much. They've got a great pass rush, as everybody saw. And they need to have more horizontal routes. And we've heard Jacob Gibbs talk about that and how important that is. The fact that the Lions didn't adjust to that immediately is going to be an example of the difference between Ben Johnson and John Morton. And that was tough to see, but I think the matchups do get easier. If Chicago secondary is still banged up this week, then by all means, Jameson Williams could have a blow-up game. I think the Lions bounce back in week 2. That's not saying anything special. So it's another buy low opportunity on JMO.
Obviously, Calvin Ridley was shadowed. I think most, if not all, of his targets came away from not all, but most came away from Patrick Surtain. So Calvin Ridley, and the fact that Cam Ward actually, a lot of people came away impressed with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even like his third throw of the game was outstanding. He's a good quarterback.
I mean, is giving up Tyreek Hill to get Calvin Ridley and what? Or by the way, if you think I'm crazy for trying to sell Tyreek Hill, then please tell me.
I mean, at this point, trying to get out from under it is not a bad idea if you're going to get fair value for him. Because like you said, it could get worse, especially with some off-field situations looming and the potential of him getting traded, which may end up being better. You know, if he goes to, let's say, the Chiefs, it could end up being worse. I saw the Steelers as a potential destination for him. That could be terrible. So if they're going to trade him, or, you know, he decides to pull an Antonio Brown and just leave, you know, there's just so many different ways this could go south for him, even worse than it is right now. So if someone's still going to value him at the same level, same draft cost, then sure, you should be trying to trade him. Would I trade him for Calvin Ridley? No.
I think the problem is what Jamey just hit on, though. Like we had the concerns coming into the year. We had a terrible week 1. We get a report about domestic violence allegations. I just don't know that you can trade Tyreek Hill right now for better than Calvin Ridley.
Ridley and Jalen Warren for Tyreek.
No chance.
You'd keep Hill?
I wouldn't. I don't think anybody's giving you that.
Oh, you'd rather have Ridley. Wait, I'm sorry. What side of that would you rather be on, Heath?
I mean, I'd probably take Ridley and Jalen Warren, but I mean, I'd love to know, and the chat maybe can tell us. Has anybody been able to trade Tyreek Hill lately in the last 2 days?
I think if all they're getting is Calvin Ridley and Jalen Warren, I don't think they want to, because the investment that they made in Tyreek Hill on draft day was much greater than that.
I'm going to go to I think I have him in 2 leagues. I'm going to go to one. I'm going to offer him for Cortland Sutton right now and just see what happens. All right. Last guy's Travis Hunter, Dave. Just real quick on that, and then we'll get to the other guys.
Again, another player that just didn't have a great week 1, another rookie. There were flashes of him doing some good stuff. And I think Jacksonville's passing game is better than they looked in what'd they play? Like a little less than a half before the lightning strike. Yeah. And then after the lightning strike, it was a whole delay. After that, they really just didn't look good at all. So I don't really want to judge any part of the Jaguars passing game quite yet. And so if there's a chance to get Travis Hunter, who's clearly playing a lot of offense, clearly going to see a good amount of targets, I think you can pencil him in for a minimum of 4 catches a week, could be as high as 6 or 7.
Okay, Jamey, let's start with RJ Harvey. First of all, you also have Jameson Williams in your buy lows, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I do think, though, just one thing that's a little concerning about Jameson is if they're going to give Tesla more work, it's going to be a problem for all these guys because he's so talented. And how many targets will he take away from St. Brown and Laporta and even Jamey? So I just wonder, like, are we going to get the Jameson that we were hoping for, the breakout that we were promised, from him, just if somebody else is now factoring into this?
I had the On the Box Score guys on FFT Dynasty yesterday. If you guys didn't listen to that, you should go listen to it. But Jacob was in the fantasy points data suite throughout the show and said his biggest concern was that Jamey had a 2% route win rate in week 1. They kind of asked him to do some new things and it didn't go particularly well, but I still agree with the buy low on him.
I don't love route depth. Now Justin Jefferson had one of the highest route depths last year, so it could work, but Jamey's was way up. He had the 6th highest average route depth among 82 wide receivers with 20 or more routes run. The guys ahead of him were Jalen Naylor. So the Vikings are always going to be high on this list, it seems. But Jalen Naylor, Tyquan Thornton, Trey Tucker, De'Ami Brown, Alec Pierce, and then Jameson Williams, then George Pickens, Kayshon Boutte, then DJ Moore. The Bears are also typically high on that list, and Josh Reynolds. But I don't know. Like, we want to see Jameson Williams do less of just that downfield stuff. His ADOT was low, but he didn't have that many targets, only had 5. But, yeah, I don't know. It's something to keep an eye on, I guess.
Is that stat, Adam, from last week or last year?
Last week.
Okay. Week 1. Yeah, I don't know what the lines were thinking. I talked about it already.
Right. DK Metcalf and RJ. Okay, sorry, Jamey. So RJ Harvey, DK Metcalf, and Matthew Golden are the 3 others on your list here.
I just lumped the two rookies together because it's easy. I think clearly we all fall for this as anything when you get the shiny new toy. The expectations for rookies get out of control, and they disappointed in week 1. Harvey is going to get much more work. I can't imagine Sean Payton on down watching him play, and the phrase we use all the time, you can't keep that in the box too long. Like, JK Dobbins did some nice things, but RJ Harvey is going to continue to get more work, and you have a very small window to get him at this point at a relatively cheap cost, whatever that cost may be. But I would, like, if I could turn Alvin Kamara into RJ Harvey, I would do that.
Whoa. Okay. Well, I bet you could do that.
Yeah.
Oh, we should ask Dave about speaking of Alvin Kamara. We'll do it when we get to the sell high section. Never mind.
Okay.
But we got an Alvin Kamara trade offer.
I can't believe that you want to accept it. You, of all people, want to get trade.
Well, I don't want to anymore because we got Harold Fannin.
Yeah, all right, we're good. Well, we lost Kittle, so. All right, DK Metcalf was shadowed by Sauce Gardner, had 4.
Well, again, just golden. More targets will be coming. I think there's too huge an opportunity for him to be good to, again, not feature him a little bit more.
I just want to say with Golden, though, I mean, and maybe even Harvey, when are you expecting to be able to start these guys?
I'm probably still going to start Golden this week in 3 receiver leagues. So with the hope of, maybe a shootout this week against the Commanders and how that offense should operate. Harvey's going to be a flex. So a little bit more patient with him, but still excited.
Week 6 on Golden, week 7 on Harvey.
Week 6 and 7. Wow.
That's after the bye week for Green Bay. Denver's bye week is late in the year, but they have a couple of tough run defenses in front of them in weeks 5 and 6. And so by then, Dobbins will probably be beat up a little bit. Harvey will get his opportunity. And Jamey's right. Like, go look and see that Harvey long run that he had.
Yeah.
I don't understand how Sean Payton doesn't use more of him moving forward.
Okay. Well, okay. I think it's 2 different viewpoints here, because if you're really not starting Harvey until around week 5 or 6, at least planning on it, obviously things can change in a second. But then I wouldn't be buying low on someone that I was just going to well, I mean, you could, but you're not going to get for something so cheap where you're just going to be able to stashing him. All right, Heath, your buy lows: Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard, DeAndre Swift, and Terry McLaurin. Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard, DeAndre Swift, Terry McLaurin. Go for it.
These are all probably pretty easy to explain. Maybe the running backs are the most difficult because they were very inefficient in their first game, but they also got almost all of the touches. And I don't think anybody in Chicago or Tennessee is changing that. I expect the matchups to be better moving forward than they were for Pollard against the Broncos and Swift against the Vikings. Love the usage, hated the production. Do not, like, when I went through my projections this week, for the most part, except for rookies and maybe guys in new situations that we had some questions about, I don't adjust efficiency off of 1 week. When you go look at somebody's game log and their yards per carry, there's going to be a 7-yard week. There's going to be a 2-yard week. There's going to be a bunch of 3s and 4s. Don't adjust efficiency off of 1 week. The usage was great. They're going to be okay. At quarterback, I thought Dak was pretty awesome against the Eagles. He had some drops. Again, not going to face the Eagles this week. He's going to face the Giants, and everybody's going to think he's a top 8 quarterback again after this week. So if you can go get Dak before then, you should do that. He's a top 8 quarterback for me in my week 2 rankings. Terry McLaurin, Jamey talked about it a lot. The slow start at the beginning of the year expected for guys that held out. McLaurin had that slow start. I love Deebo Samuel, but Deebo Samuel is not going to out-target him 9-3 on a regular basis. This will come back around for McLaurin. Maybe you have to wait 1 more week. Maybe you have to wait 2 more weeks. But he'll be a guy that you start every week soon enough.
McLaurin was another guy that had a much higher average route depth than usual. And I haven't been tracking that where I would know how much it fluctuates from week to week, but 10.7 average route depth for McLaurin. Last year it was 9.7. It's a big jump. So my thought was, oh boy, is that because like they have Deebo Samuel now to do some of the other stuff and he's just going to be more of a downfield guy? But I think that'd be an overreaction after
they were close on a long touchdotouchdown. Would have been a 70-yard touchdown.
Yeah, I know. He completely destroyed, I think it was Paulson Adebo on that. It was wide open, 71-yard touchdown.
Wide open. Jaden Daniels overthrew him. I thought that if they had been practicing in camp together for a couple of weeks, they would have nailed that.
Probably, yeah.
Right. I got laughed at for saying that. by somebody.
Well, whatever.
It's okay. It'll be a
all right,
touchdown in
still
2
high.
weeks. That's the point.